Hello and welcome to Healing the Shaman's Way. I'm your host, Dr. Norman Wilson. I am a shaman. I do not lay any claims to being a Native American. As a healer, I'm interested in all aspects of the human being, both physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual. And today I would like to begin a series of 3 talks on human spirituality. And specifically, spiritual contentment. I think it's very important in today's world. All the great religions of the world, ancient and modern, Eastern and Western, Christian and non-Christian, have failed to materialize the singular condition that provides for individual spiritual contentment. And that's quite a serious charge. Certainly, the great philosophers of the world have not added any relevant information to what it means to be a spiritual individual. Now, one may hold specific religious viewpoints, convictions, and still not be a spiritual person. Spirituality means connecting to and realizing that you are a part of the natural world and connecting to that which cannot be named and to the cosmos itself. Well, what then is the ultimate secret of secrets in terms of spiritual contentment? To begin with, one may accept from any and each dogma, each religion, and each philosophy that which makes him or her feel spiritually content. If it's kissing the Blarney Stone in Ireland, do it. If it's bowing down to Mecca several times a day, do it. If it's going to Wednesday night prayer service, do it. Going to Sunday morning service or Sunday morning mass, do it. Sounds simple enough, doesn't it? But there's a catch. There are those who are into traditionalism would find such a pick and choose approach an abhorrence. They would claim that it's a denial of the church, whichever church it is. What is more traditional than the belief and the acceptance of human spirituality, I ask? Spirituality has existed since the beginning of the universe in terms of humanism is concerned, that is, human existence. It is not something that's been created since the beginning of civilization. It's existed long before massive organization religions, with their grandiose edifices, their volumes of do's and don'ts, and long before the introduction of overly orchestrated ritual. Now, if you follow such a traditional path, there is a catch. The simplest man or woman in those simple surroundings can express his or her spirituality, her spiritual soul, his spiritual soul. A simple exclamation of yes suffices as an affirmation, that which is divine, our soul. And generally, when we are seeking communication with the creation, we look upward toward the heavens. And that may be misplaced. I ask, should we not look inward? And if we do, there's a catch, believe me. I suppose I should be quoting scripture at this point. I will leave scripture quoting to those who find such an accomplishment that it expresses their superior knowledge, their superior wisdom. Certainly I do not claim to be wise. I am that I am. And what is that? A spiritual being who unabashedly admits irreverence for those wearing religion as a singular badge of their holiness and their superiority over others. Listening to their judgmental triads spewing from their gaping mouths simply reinforces my concern that there is a lack of genuine spirituality in today's world. The souls of such persons are already withered, blighted, and suffocated. With what? Ethno-egoism. Ethno-egoism. Selecting and choosing that which works for you is individually, and it works individually on the surface of things, appears maybe to some to advocate chaos. Now, such chaos certainly poses the greatest threat to the world's organized religions. It means the loss of billions of dollars in revenue, the loss of vast physical holdings, and finally, and most importantly, the loss of control over millions of people. With the arrival of the New Age in the 1960s and 70s, with their plethora of ramblings and rumblings and ruminations of what is and ought to be, created more questions than answers. So what exactly was the New Age? Was it communicating with the Yucca Plat in Colorado, laying bare butt naked on a rock in Arizona to attempt to absorb the Earth's energy? Or was it crying out, "I am man," to the night sky filled with stars? Or was it getting stoned on pot, high on LSD, crack cocaine? Or was it wearing long hair and beads and faded jeans with cut-out knees and a hole in the right cheek just below so it could show you were naked underneath? Did it mean being bearded and spouting esoteric poetry? If it was that, was it also the philosophy, if it feels good, do it? Ah, yes. It is said to be an effort to return to that which is natural, the natural world. Okay, but why all the trappings? Why all the pretense? Why not just be? Just be. Didn't I say take from each of the dogmas that which made you feel spiritual? And you got me there, I did. And if so, why am I so critical of the New Agers? Aren't they, and were they not seeking that which was spiritual? Remember, I said there was a catch. So what's the catch? Their quest, as are too many people in today's society, is and was self-centered. Self-centered. It was self-centered and ego-based. Now, from one viewpoint, man is advised to love his neighbor as himself. Not bad, in fact. In fact, it's pretty damn good. The hippies of the 60s and 70s preached love. Unfortunately, it degenerated into irresponsible sex and drugs, all of which has continued into the 21st century. Certainly, love your neighbor has been interpreted to mean don't be selfish. Oh, that's nice. You know, give it all away. Such an attitude relies upon the notion that self and selfish are one and the same. And therein lies the rub. They are not. To love your neighbor as yourself means you first must love your capital S-E-L-F, self. And now you have it. The ultimate secret of secrets. You have to love yourself, that inner being, that which transcends all other identifying attributes that you may have. And any demand that negates the value of self denies selfhood. Recognizing the value of self is essential for self-love. Now, if self-love is not present, how then can you possibly say and be spiritual? Okay. Without self-love, there can be no spiritual contentment. Now, if you accept the concept and the notion that you were created in the image of the divine, how can you negate that which it created by demanding that you love yourself less? You can't, and remain spiritually whole, that is, spiritually content. Suppose these concepts of individuation of the spiritual experience were to catch on. What might be the logical conclusion then? The logical projection. It would become organized with specific procedures, ceremonies, and demands. Traditionalism would raise and rear its ugly head and again threaten the individual experience. What has to be understood is that all spiritual experience is personal. The late Ayn Rand's statement regarding collective stomachs eating the same meal as being impossible. It's impossible for the group to have the same experience, even though they may be all there participating. Experience is an individual thing. The group didn't do it. Deepak Chopra reminds us that religion is a belief in someone else's experience. Spirituality is having your own experience. Thank you for listening. Namaste. I will remind you that there are 2 more such lectures on spirituality and spiritual contentment. I hope you'll tune in and find something of value, and you'll share it with others.